Let's bring in Joe Concha, Fox News contributor and media opinion columnist for The Hill. Joe, good morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Yay.
Yeah, thank goodness. And we are maskless, although we're in New York, so that we still have to wear a mask because the governor has not said we're going to drop the mask mandate. Joe, what happened? Why did the administration, out of nowhere seemingly yesterday, say, you know what? Happy days are here again. Take off the mask if you've been vaccinated.
Well, you look at the metrics, right? And I went back and I watched an interview that Dr. Fauci just did a couple of days ago on CNN, and he said that restrictions shouldn't be lifted until the U.S. is below 10,000 cases per day. The 7-day rolling average, as of yesterday, is about 36,000 new cases per day. So if we're having more than 3 times the cases, and we're not at what Dr. Fauci, who only runs the coronavirus task force, in terms of his own metrics, then why was this done? As you said, a very good question, and you wonder about the political aspect of this when you consider the gas lines in South Carolina and Georgia and Virginia and North Carolina, where a majority of gas stations are closed outright. When you see cyber infrastructure and that pipeline that supplies all of those gas stations suddenly get hacked, and then perhaps a ransom, it looks like reports say, was paid in order to turn it back on. When you consider the Middle East is on fire, at least in Israel and Gaza, when you consider the border catastrophe where we had a record number of migrants encountered in April, the highest number in 20 years. And when you look at inflation and the impact that that's having on every American, you wonder about a old saying around a dog and a wag and a tail at this point.
Media in full meltdown when this announcement was made yesterday, Joe. Here are some of the doctors on other networks and what they had to say about it. Listen.
Frankly, I was shocked by this announcement. I think they went from one extreme to another. And the major step that's missing here is, how do we know that people are telling the truth?
This is not a free-for-all that everybody, but I agree with Dr. Wen. It is going to be very tenuous.
I am kind of befuddled as to where this guidance came from. I think there are a lot of steps that we're missing.
And the people who never wanted a vaccine, how do I get them to wear a mask?
That is a great question.
I mean, Joe, half the country's already doing this. If you have been vaccinated, why shouldn't we be able to take off the mask? This announcement should have come a long time ago.
Absolutely, Ainsley. And look, fear is the greatest motivator, is the old saying. And maybe fear is also the greatest motivator in terms of reasons to watch TV or reasons to click on a certain sort of online publication, for example, that talks about COVID and tries to fearmonger people. And that was Dr. Leana Wen that you saw there on CNN. She also said this, which I found very interesting, quote, "What's to stop the unvaccinated from endangering everyone?" All right, here's some stats for you. As recently as a week ago, nearly 85% of seniors in this country have been vaccinated. 95% of COVID deaths in this country occurred with people 50 and older. This is all according to the CDC, and that's obviously because of chronic conditions or because you have an aging immune system. So when she says, oh my God, the unvaccinated are going to kill everyone, well, the numbers say that that simply is not the case.
And you don't need the numbers, Joe, by the way, to back up common sense, which says if you get vaccinated, if I am vaccinated, why do I need to worry about you? Why do I care what you're doing if I'm vaccinated? That's the point of the vaccine. I can't believe those people have a D and an R before their name. Here's what I want to get to with you, Joe. Here's why it's important to question whether or not science is guiding our decision making. Because these same agencies will continue to give us guidance, specifically when it comes to who needs to be vaccinated, children, for example. They'll continue to give us guidance that we shall not question and harangue us if we ask questions about it. And now we are looking in retrospect at the guidance over masks and going, wait, what was guiding you there, if not science?
I'm glad you brought up children, Will, because you and I both have them. Mine are young. They're 5 and 7. And I just heard the CDC director, not 5 months ago, not last year, last week, talking about how a 2-year-old might have to wear a mask if they go to a summer camp outdoors, and everybody outdoors at that camp, whether they're vaccinated or not, whether they're under 5 years old or not, has to wear a mask. So we went from that to now, hey, if you're vaccinated, everything's okay. But I still have questions. I want to know if my 7-year-old girl has to wear a mask at school still if all the teachers are vaccinated. Why does she have to do that? It's completely unfair, and it's starting to get a little warm around here, so it's going to get uncomfortable as well. So more questions than answers right now. And Dr. Fauci, who never met a microphone he didn't like, needs to start doing some interviews today, and people need to start challenging Dr. Fauci and not be so afraid to do it, and ask just basic questions that inform Americans, and particularly parents, on what happens next.
Yeah, Joe, I did do some research on that, because if you have a 5-year-old, obviously she can't get vaccinated, so she will probably still have to wear a mask at school if the school requires it. But they say they will update guidance for schools and summer camps.
Looking forward to that, Ainsley, no question about it. But in here in New Jersey, you go into any business. I was in several yesterday. It was errands day. And I'm telling you, not one person wasn't wearing a mask, and not one business was like, okay, it's okay now. I have a feeling it's going to take a while for people to get out of this habit. I
know where you were. You were at Market Basket, and you were buying a turkey yesterday. We should point out that...
That's correct.
I know.
Wait, sorry to interrupt you, but I heard again.
The grocery store.
I heard in New Jersey, y'all have a place where you have a Home Goods, a TJ Maxx, and a Marshall's, and a Target in one spot.
We probably have a couple of those.
In one spot. That's like a dream for any woman.
Ainsley, if you're pretentious, it's Marshall's and it's Target. That's the way you say those words in New Jersey.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, Joe, I was going to point out the fact that your wife is an emergency room doctor, so you are looking at the science as well. And you mentioned Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci says that, as of yesterday, he said, come fall, schools will be wide open. Everybody back 5 days a week. So, and for him to make that change on the same day they made the mask mandate change, you've got to figure the White House has been doing internal polling, and the number one thing the president had been doing best on was coronavirus. And I think people had probably had it up to here, and the polling was going south, and they said, you know what, we got to pull the plug on this. We got to, steer the ship this way instead.
So we went from follow the data, follow the science, listen to the doctors, to listen to the pollsters. Right. Oh, that's very interesting, because they've been so accurate, particularly last year, right? Yeah, probably not a good idea. And by the way, the President of the United States, again, was completely misleading in his statement yesterday when he said that nobody thought that we'd have this many people vaccinated by now. They thought we'd get to this number by the fall. No, there's not one person in this country that didn't think we'd get to the numbers that we're at here in mid-May, given the trajectory that we were already at when Mr. Biden took office. So again, he keeps moving the goalposts, and no one bothers to fact check or even challenge him on these things in any way, shape, or form. Then again, it's very hard to challenge somebody who rarely takes questions.
Or lowering the bar and keep clearing it and patting himself on the back.
Good point.
Nice job.
All right, Joe Concha with Media Review and a review of retail establishments throughout northern New Jersey.
Joe, our new pillows on the sofa came from that shopping center.
Oh, wow,
we appreciate New Jersey.
You.
Thank you.
All right, Joe.
Oh, thank you. I want to go out and buy a Jaguar now, but apparently I have to call it a Jaguar if I want to keep the pretentious thing going. So,
from pillows to Jaguars. Thanks, Joe. You're good for everything.
We're just regular folks on this curvy couch. You can call it Jaguar.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right.
Bye.